that you're going by.
Bentrovati live from Capri, Hollywood. Welcome back to live from Capri, Hollywood. Here in the virtual square of Capri with Antonella Salvucci.
Hello everybody, hello Pascal. Thank you for this great opportunity to be here because I was having homesick for not being in Capri this year.
Well, I mean, obviously we are not in over the piazzetta. But actually we are with our art in the piazzetta. Siamo in piazzetta col cuore, cara Antonella. Non possiamo essere lì fisicamente perché sarebbe stato troppo complicato andare a montare lì uno studio televisivo che ci potesse permettere di realizzare Capri Hollywood in digitale. Però ci siamo con lo spirito, ci siamo con tanti collegamenti, ci siamo con le splendide immagini che ci arrivano in diretta dalla piazzetta. Ci siamo con tanti ospiti che stanno arricchendo queste nostre dirette live che vanno su tutti i social media. We are unfortunately not live from Capri literally, but we are virtually in Capri and we are very happy to spread out the beauty of Capri all over the world through the digital media. Actually, in 2 days, 65,000 people watched the movies we selected to be seen to this edition of Capri Hollywood. Almost 200 movies, most of them selected by filmfreeway.com. Actually, we received 1,600 requests of participation to the festival from 90 countries. This is unbelievable and we are very proud of it. So tonight we're gonna have another important moment. This morning we start with Paolo Sorrentino, Oscar winner director for The Great Beauty, of paying homage to his own maestro, Antonio Capuano. Previously we had last night, we met Michael Radford. Tonight, later on, we're gonna meet Steven Zellian. And then on the opening night, we had Mark Kenton with so many other Italian talents. And davvero siamo felici perché insomma al terzo giorno 65.000 persone hanno già visto i film che offriamo gratuitamente, cara Antonella, attraverso la piattaforma mymovies.it. Ho ricordato che circa 1600 opere sono arrivate a noi attraverso la piattaforma filmfreeway.com da 90 paesi per essere visti e siamo davvero orgogliosi di ciò. Vuol dire che il nostro festival è molto apprezzato.
È seguito in tutto il mondo e per me che insomma sono una grande fruitrice di cinema mi stava mancando quella formula usuale di Capri Hollywood, cioè di avere la più bella produzione italiana unita alla migliore produzione dal mondo in una formula eccezionale che solo Capri Hollywood riesce a formare, perciò anch'io già mi sono prenotata per diversi film e non vedo l'ora, fino al 2 gennaio me li godrò piano piano.
Infatti lo ripetiamo per chi non fosse molto abituato a frequentare le piattaforme digitali. Noi siamo in questo momento su internet, siamo su caprihollywood.com. Per vedere i film potrete andare a prenotarvi quando vi pare su mymovies.it. Naturalmente sono delle sale virtuali di 500 posti l'una e chi prima arriva meglio alloggia, diciamo sì, la verità. First come, first seat, it says you can watch the movie through mymovies.it. Ma molta attenzione hanno i giornali, i media italiani e internazionali. Oggi abbiamo avuto 2 servizi molto belli, 2 telegiornali e chiederei alla regia di mandarci in onda prima il primo telegiornale da vedere e poi dopo vi presenteremo gli ospiti.
Capri apre la rassegna con il premio al miglior film europeo notturno di Gianfranco Rosi, scelto per rappresentare l'Italia agli Oscar, uno sguardo dall'interno alle zone di guerra e di confine del Medio Oriente. In programma per questa 25esima edizione un focus sul cinema di Paolo Sorrentino e Antonio Capuano, proiezioni in streaming, un omaggio alla commedia all'italiana e riconoscimenti speciali, quello a Salvatore Esposito e soprattutto il premio alla grande Sofia Loren, protagonista del film La vita davanti a sé, diretto dal figlio Edoardo Ponti, e per l'anniversario del festival, presieduto da Pascal Vicedomini, parole e musica degli artisti che sono passati da qui.
Sono un attore famoso e nei 25 anni di anniversario di Capri Hollywood da attore famoso non posso non fare gli auguri a questa manifestazione che ha sempre promosso il cinema, soprattutto il cinema americano in Italia e il cinema italiano e in America. Io da attore famoso non posso non farlo. Mi avete riconosciuta? No, non mi avete riconosciuta. Vabbè.
Tutti hanno riconosciuto Fiorello che a Capri Hollywood c'è stato nel 1997 e in quell'occasione convinse Anthony Minghella a scritturarlo per il film Il talento di Mr. Ripley, per riproporre nei studios di Cinecittà una scena bellissima da lui vissuta in prima persona all'Anna McCoy di Capri insieme a Guido Lembo, dove appunto Fiorello, affiancato da Armando Assante e da Minghella, cantò davanti al maestro Renato Carosone Tu vuoi farlo americano. Minghella vide questa scena, dopodiché la ripropose nel film Il talento di Mr. Ripley con Fiorello, Matt Damon e Jude Law, e questo è il rapporto di Fiorello con Capri Hollywood. Un altro servizio dopo questo del TG1, ringraziamo il giornalista Leonardo Vitali e il direttore Carboni, guardiamo invece il TG5 cosa oggi ha detto di noi.
Capri Hollywood, il festival dedicato all'incontro tra l'Italia e Hollywood nel cinema, compie 25 anni e per la nuova edizione della rassegna, ideata e curata da Pascal Vicedomini con il presidente Tony Renis, arrivano gli auguri di tanti artisti.
Non posso non fare gli auguri a questa manifestazione che ha sempre promosso il cinema, soprattutto il cinema americano in Italia e il cinema italiano e in America.
25 anni di grande Capri Hollywood.
Capri Hollywood forever. Happy birthday, Capri Hollywood.
Auguri Capri Hollywood.
È un'edizione in streaming della manifestazione a causa dell'emergenza Covid, ma ricca come sempre di proposte. Si svolge in questi giorni sino al prossimo 2 gennaio. Capri Hollywood, con il suo presidente Tony Renis, dedica un premio speciale a Sofia Loren e al figlio Edoardo Ponti, che l'ha diretta nel film La vita davanti a sé, con cui l'attrice potrebbe ottenere una nuova candidatura agli Oscar. Il festival si è inaugurato con un tributo a Gianfranco Rosi, il regista designato con il suo film Notturno a rappresentare l'Italia nella prossima edizione degli Academy Awards. Tra gli artisti festeggiati e premiati, il grande press agent Enrico Lucherini e l'attore Salvatore Esposito. Capri Hollywood propone oltre 200 film sulla piattaforma digitale My Movies, completamente gratuiti, e porta sui social media i suoi contenuti. Il festival ha sempre sostenuto gli artisti italiani che hanno conquistato anche l'America e spesso gli Oscar, ed è fedele alla sua vocazione di incontro tra l'Italia, con il suo cinema e la sua cultura, e il mondo.
Eccola, la magia di queste immagini, Pascal, devo dire, mi commuove sempre, perché gli artisti, lo sappiamo, hanno bisogno dell'applauso, hanno bisogno di gratificazioni e hanno bisogno proprio di una sferzata di positività, come riesci a fare tu e tutta la squadra con questo festival, perché ci dà modo di un incentivo a fare sempre di più, sempre meglio, arrivare ai premi, arrivare ad essere visti in sala, arrivare come in questo caso a essere visti insieme a te sul digitale. Quindi insomma è un modo di vivere appieno, nel modo più globale possibile, il cinema, confrontandosi poi con attori e registi da tutto il mondo, che come ho visto sono stati generosissimi e carinissimi nel farti gli auguri per questo traguardo importantissimo, 25 anni di Capri Hollywood.
Thank you so much, Antonella. You saw two of the pieces. The news in Italy are talking about us a lot, but also in Los Angeles they are talking about us because the bridge between Italy and America really was created very strong, and of course this job was not done by me. This job was done by the artists, so many great legendary artists, so many young talent. I want just to remember to a big audience who are tonight with us, and more than 100 people reunited by Michael Margotta and Maestro Paul Haggis for their masterclass, because Capri Hollywood has been always paying attention to the young people. I want to remember in this occasion when a young Gerard Butler came to Capri. He was not even popular all over the world. He came just before the Phantom of the Opera with a little movie called Dear John, and we celebrated him and became a legend. Then a few years later we had Michael Fassbender, Andrew Garfield, Jesse Eisenberg, Imogen Potts, Freddie Highmore, and then we have been really lucky to work to campaign for the Oscar for talent since the beginning. In 1996, we had a young and really unknown Geoffrey Rush arriving to Capri to show Shine, and he had his first walking ovation, as he personally said after the screening of Shine, the movie Scott Hicks directed, this movie that was going for the Oscar. And of course, Geoffrey won the Oscar in Los Angeles, and he's very grateful to Capri. And then also the same scene was for many other talents. I want to remember Forrest Whitaker, that was with us in 2006. If you have ragazzi, avete il video di Forrest Whitaker, lo farei vedere se potete. In 2006 Forrest Whitaker nel 2006 and he came for campaigning for the movie Last King of Scotland. He came to Capri. He was honored by producer Aurelio De Laurentiis and Maestro Mario Monicelli, and of course a person that Paul Haggis knows very well, Bobby Moresco. And a few months later, Forrest Whitaker went to the Academy Awards show and got the Oscar, and we met after the gala at the Morton's restaurant where the Vanity Fair party was taking place, and he shows his award and says Capri, Capri. And really, I'm very, very happy for his success, as well as I'm happy for many other people's success who first came to Capri and then got the awards. I now remember Melissa Leo. I remember the family Aznavicius for the artist.
The Queen.
We campaigned for Ellen Mirren before the Queen. I know many, many, many more. But just before introducing to you our special guest tonight, I wanna you to see this salute we got from Los Angeles recently.
Pascal, congratulations on the 25th anniversary of the Capri International Hollywood Film Festival. You brought together great films, great people, great art, and moved forward the motion of cinema in our lives. So congratulations, Pascal. Congratulations on the 25th anniversary of the International Capri Hollywood Film Festival.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Maestro Paul Haggis.
Oh, hello. How are you? Thank you very much for having me, Pascal, and me and Michael to talk to. Wow, you got about 100 actors there and another 100 in the waiting room, I think. Hoping to get on. So I guess they're live on Instagram. But thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you for all these years that you have supported the arts in your way. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, and you can look at all the big festivals. You can look at Venice, you can look at Rome, you can look at Cannes, you can look at all around the world, and they have, you know, a huge staff, and they have great body of you know, as they should. But even like smaller festivals, Geneva, all these things have big staffs and big budgets and supported by the governments. You've been doing this on your own back for 25 years. And every year I would go, how the hell do you do it? And I'd look around. We should bring the most amazing people together with no budget, with nothing, just, you know, begging people here and there and doing the most extraordinary thing. And thank you for that, because it's been such a gift to me. I know to Michael as well, but especially to me, because I think I've been coming for, I don't know, 12 years or something now, way too long to even remember. And some of my best memories are sitting in Ischia or in Capri talking to some of the incredible talents that you allowed me to meet there on a social level and get to know, rather than just as you would at any other film festival, just see each other between appointments and various press things you have to do. So thank you for that, Pascal, and thank you for continuing. I can't believe it's 25 years.
So, Paul, you host the masterclass, please.
Okay, well, we'll get started here. Michael, as you all know, I mean, a lot of you have come because of Michael, some because of me, but we've been talking about wanting to get together. We last did what was it, last year, Michael? We did a masterclass together where we sat and actually did scene work with actors for a couple of years.
On the lake?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And here, obviously, we're not going to have the opportunity to do that. Michael, I think you do it still. I don't. But we wanted to talk about what it's like right now for artists. It's a terrible time. This is a time when people have lost their jobs. People on this call, I'm sure, have lost a lot of work. There's people who are really suffering, people losing homes here in America. People don't know where they're going to eat sometimes. It's a terrible time. And we have to honor that. We have to do what we can for our neighbors and our friends. And we also have to be able to keep our spirits up. And I think, when you talk about essential workers, we know who the essential workers are. Largely, they're the nurses, they're the doctors, they're the garbage men who are taking away our trash at nights, who still work. There's the delivery guys. There's all these people are essential to the way we survive. But it might be odd to say it, but the arts are essential, and because without them, the spirit dies. And so, what do we do? Because we, the artists, we, the bigger thing, to keep going, to keep our spirits up. And that's what Michael and I wanted to talk about, because I've certainly been affected by it. I don't know if you have, Michael. I was into a massive depression.
Sure, of course.
So,
of course. And I thought it was very generous, because when you proposed this, I thought this was a great idea, because it's kind of like, dealing with the lockdown blues. I think that, well, you're a generous guy. I got the point right away that this is kind of...
it's actually Pascal's idea, but it's okay.
It's funny. I got the idea right away that you were trying to do something for people in this situation that we're in, and I'm for it.
You're dealing with a lot of actors right now, Michael. You do your classes. I'm sure you're doing some virtually. I don't know what you're up to. What are you hearing from artists? What's the biggest problem they're having over this year? I mean, losing work, of course. But what are they struggling with?
Well, in the beginning, the first lockdown, people were asking, for a seminar, and my first thought was, no, I really want to know what's going on with people before we start doing something. We try to modify this in some way, but so and there's already 500 high-priced salvation seminars online that people can do. I wanted to try to just find out what's going on with people in that period, and so we did 4 Q&As. And those were a way for me to find out how people were dealing with this. And after the 4 Q&As, then we did a seminar after that. And
what did you learn from the Q&As that surprised you?
Well, I think that the thing that was there's always this issue about the discipline. Whether people are disciplined enough to keep working and focused on trying to do something with themselves. And I think when they found themselves in this kind of a situation where they can't get together and do something, there were classes that people were doing where they were doing exercises every week. There's a group in Rome doing exercises continually. They keep the discipline going. What I was going after really was, I wanted to understand if people first of all, had ever considered really studying the roots of what this is all about, first of all. Because if
When
I
you say roots of what this is all about, what do you mean?
acting, the roots of acting. I mean, if
Not the
somebody,
pandemic. Okay, good. All right.
because if they know, if somebody's interested in theater, if they don't know theater history, then it's like a plant with, you cut the roots off, it doesn't go anywhere. So this was a way to open up a study about how this all started, where it all started from. I felt it was, I think I'm not the only person who was referring to Greek history to try to understand the problem that we're in right now. I think that I tried to get everyone to try to look at the possibilities of creating. I gave options to people. Do you want to create a dream character that you've always wanted to play? Maybe a character people would never give you. You can start working on it now. You want to work on a significant person from your life? And I was hoping they would choose that one, actually. I gave people options to develop something at home. I mean, whatever the issues are that each individual has to deal with in their career, if there's the problems that they were having before and the expectations that got let down when the first lockdown came out, I think the thing that was important to me is that people didn't give up, and that's why I suggested for this even this notion of the creative impulse, because I wanted to kick people in the ass a little bit the first time around, because I felt like, too many people were really waiting before all of this for somebody to give them a job in order to be inspired. And I wanted to nick that in the bud a little bit. So we started on trying to develop something that they could do at home, really, alone. Not enough people picked up on the option of creating some significant person from their life. I think that was because they were feeling maybe it was too close to home. This time, we just did another seminar 2 weeks ago for 5 days. And then I said, okay, no options. You have to create a significant person from your life.
And sometimes you just have to ask for it, Michael.
Yeah,
He's just trying to hint around. You might want to do this, and
yeah. Well, it's nice to have options, but when you give,
but you want them to do exactly what
this
you want.
time, no options.
Yes.
Okay, and it was great. It was great, actually. In the end, it was wonderful. I had them work on somebody significant from their life, obviously, but they did it like we do animal work. It was really like putting somebody else on. In the end, I asked them to find a letter to an editor from the newspapers, either a newspaper online or a real newspaper, and to read these letters to the editor with the attitude of the person that they were choosing. And it was wonderful. It was really wonderful. So this was something, the most important thing is that there's a million things people can work on alone.
That's very interesting.
A lot of stuff to work on alone, really. And the thing that, but what I discovered in this last one was, I got a lot of notes on what people wanted. I wanted to focus on what they really wanted and what the obstacles were to what they wanted. Yeah. And it's interesting because, this will come to an end. People will get back. We will get back to a somewhat normal situation. And I think this time was an opportunity for people to face the issues that they need to overcome or want to overcome. Yeah. So it was to look at those issues and and to look at the obstacles. And there's a lot of similarities, I mean, we can share in all of the things that people were saying that they wanted, in fact, but also the obstacles that they felt they were facing. Yeah. So this was I think when you said a Q&A, I thought that's a great place to begin.
And I think that's a terrific place to segue here into exactly that, because I'm sure people have questions, specific questions about how to survive what's happening right now. And I don't mean financially or every other way, because we know that that's just, the struggle is ongoing for everybody, especially people in the arts who can't, the entertainment business and service business, people who automatically lose out as soon as people can't gather together. But and 95% of people, actors, they're just barely scrape by as it is. So doing their craft and have second jobs, and many of those are in the service industry, so they lose both immediately. So anyways, questions you might have for Michael and myself, or myself, if you want to start asking them. How are we doing this, Feda? Are we, is it coming through you or through, is it coming up?
Not actually, because we have the technician. I'm gonna write him now. I think
Okay,
he should be on too.
I want to see you and your lovely daughter. Come on, put your thing back on.
Hold on, because she's she's dressed as Elsa, so I didn't want to.
She's so beautiful. This looks like her mama. Look at that. Oh, beauty.
The technician, Pascal's technician, has to allow them to unmute them, I think, unless they all unmuted themselves.
Yeah, but there has to be some order in this, right? So somebody has to.
Well, it is possible for somebody to just ask a question, and if everybody pays attention, they can see that there's a conversation going on, and when that
right. So I guess whoever has a question. I mean, unless there's, I didn't organize this. This is comes from the festival.
Devo fare le domande. Paul, they have to ask questions.
Yeah, but how? How?
Paul, they have to ask questions.
No, I understand that, Pascal. We're trying to figure out how they ask the questions, not if they ask the questions. So,
maybe, Paul, they can raise a hand if they want to ask question, and then you can say their name if you see their name.
I can't see them all. There's hundreds of people on here. I can't see them, so I see 4 people. So just
Chi li vede?
you do it better.
Someone ask a question. Let's see if it'll work. Just someone ask a question.
Okay, start. Who has a question? Just unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, I see.
Is there a chat? Is there a chat thing, or what is it? Do you see?
You're muted. Why don't you unmute?
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. This is David. If you raise your hand in the Zoom, that'll let you know you want to talk. You want to mute. So if you go to the top of the Zoom, you press the bar will come down, and you just raise your hand. It'll let you know you want to ask a question.
Yeah, that'll work.
I hope that helps.
I don't see it, but go ahead. Dave,
oh, you put your hand down when your question answered. You put your hand back down. Go up to the top of the bar.
I have a question. Who wants to talk? Exactly, Dave. So, David, do you have a question?
No, I was just trying to help out.
I'm trying to help out.
Okay, so who has a question?
Is that Elmira? Yes. Yeah, you have to unmute. You have to unmute.
We're going to say that thousands of times.
I have a question.
Good.
It's not a question. I would like to thank you for this opportunity. And for me, it's a very big gift, a very big present, because today it's my birthday.
Oh,
happy birthday.
A sign for me, I don't know, because this year was a very unlucky year for me. So I'm hoping that 2021 will be a very good year, not only for me, but for all the people.
Thank you very much for that wish. I think we can all take that, and we hope 2021, is a hell of a lot better. But
happy
you know
birthday.
what? There were many things that I found this year. I'm sure you all did as well. There are many gifts that I took away from this year, from this time of solitude. It was funny. My children asked me, when we went into lockdown, we were all doing this initially. My children, who are all adults now, they asked me if I noticed any difference, because I naturally socially distance. And I said, yes, I did notice the difference. I thought it was much better, because I no longer had to come up with excuses why I couldn't get together with people on Thursday or Friday or whatever, or lunch. I could just go, pandemic, rather than I just don't want to see you. I want to write, which sounds so antisocial, and it's true. But I did miss my friends, certainly, and my family. But it does give us a chance to really focus, as Michael said, if we know what to focus on. I mean, I hit a massive depression for the first month. I don't know if you guys did too, but a massive depression. Finally, because it's hard to write or create, knowing that nothing may come of that. It's hard to act knowing that, doing a scene, knowing that the only person that might see it is your virtual partner on Zoom. For all you guys, it is hard. But then, you know, you have to, but then once you think about it, the actual joy of doing it is what saved me. The actual joy of sitting and writing, knowing no one may ever read what I'm writing, no one may ever do it, never perform it, never, but I get joy from doing it, and a lot of pain, but just different pain and from what else is going on in my life. So that's, I think, what we have to, Michael is saying, to have to try to experience now. And I think a lot of people are already doing that. They're trying to figure out, and they're figuring out how to find that joy, how to find a purpose in an immediately, you know, exploring the craft without any other end in sight other than just exploring the craft. So any other questions? Or this is gonna be a very short class.
Yeah. Hi guys. Thank you so much, Paul and Michael. Slightly off-topic question. Sure. What do you think of
your hair?
Medium of
Huh? Your hair's a lot shorter than the last time I saw you. So are we asking about that?
Yeah.
I like it. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to you guys and I decided, you know, when I got back to the UK to just give it a little chop. So, but yeah, to my question would be is, earlier on this year, I heard about Warner Brothers signing a deal with HBO for their new streaming service. And they said that all of their major films would be getting launched on the service at the same time that they'd be put into the cinemas. And obviously, I don't know how it is across the world, but in the UK, all cinemas are shut at the moment. My question to you guys is, do you think that there'll be a degradation in like the appreciation for film because it will now just be on streaming platforms? Because for me, I know a lot of films are made for cinema and for that experience. And I know sometimes when I'm seeing Netflix originals or Amazon originals, I almost have this chip on my shoulder about the quality and how good they're actually going to be and how good the storytelling is. And do you think that'll kind of happen to these kind of big blockbuster movies or even large scale films that are now being produced by like the biggest production houses?
You know, I think there absolutely will be a push to make things cheaper, make things not, you know, don't spend quite the time. Why do 70 millimeter when even 35 millimeter is more than we need? So the same thing that happened with film when we went digital. Same thing that happened when television was invented, but before any of us were born. And suddenly the rush to that was totally different and the quality was awful. And yet, if you look back at some of those early shows, you look back at, you know, Jack Benny, or, you know, look back at, you know, the Honeymooners or things like this, and the lighting is terrible, the quality is awful. And yet, the art that came out of that, the acting, the moments, the humanity was wonderful. So there's always something you're gonna lose, and always something you're gonna gain. I hope we don't lose the beauty of cinema in this. I have the same chip when I see that, you know. I mean, I love Netflix. I love Netflix. I love all these other streaming services because I can watch in my home. But I do have that. Oh, and Netflix, fine. Fine, look at me, a real movie. But I think, you know, thank God, we're just, can you imagine if streaming hadn't been invented right now and we're all just waiting to go right out to the store to get our DVD or our VHS and bring it back home and stuff it in, which I still remember. Thank God for them. They give us time. The interesting thing now is I'm not watching much. I don't know if you are. I'm just not. I'm spending my time writing and reading. Hopefully not reading too much on this goddamn thing, which I wake up and start reading my news and I got to stop that. But yeah, there will be that degradation, but hopefully other things will come out. But that's my opinion. Michael?
Cool.
Yeah. This question was just asked Tom Hanks yesterday, actually, and he was talking about the possibility that the theaters will be just for the big Marvel, mega Avengers.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And he had no answer.
Yeah. Well, just that. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
ultimately, it
But
can end up like a football,
it's
going to a football game or staying home and watching football. I mean,
it's like Broadway. You know, Broadway, there's still a few, or the West End, and I'm sure it's every place in the world with theater. There are still a few places where you see great dramas. I was about to see Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. I was so looking forward to that. It was, I was supposed to go the weekend, everything shut down. It was the new production, I think Laurie Metcalf, and it got shut down. And that probably will never come back. But as it is, 70% of Broadway is stuff for tourists, is big, big shows for kids or big shows for the general population. But 30% is still pretty damn good, and enough for me to see a play every month at least here and be really excited. So hopefully we'll hold on to 20%, 10%, something. We'll hold on to something. Who's got another question?
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, with all the growth and expansion happening in the Canadian film industry, how can one make the most as an actor as an opportunity of this expansion and maybe find an opportunity? Because there's a lot happening in Hamilton and Toronto. There's studios being built. And
Are you Canadian?
I'm Canadian, yes.
That's how you do it. I thought you were like, calling you were coming from France and saying, okay, I want to get to Canada and get them. I mean, so your question is what? How can Canadian artists take advantage of this? I mean, yeah, I have actually a film I've been trying to shoot up in Canada. I'm trying to cast right now. It's not going forward. We decided to push it off, but a small film, and it was going to be shot in Ontario. It is tough because of what's happening. Obviously, I just shot a short film. I helped my daughter and my son, who just made their first short film with a wonderful actress here, and just a 2.5 day shoot. But even that, we only have 8 people on set, or 8 people total crew. It was, we were all doubling up and taking jobs. That's easier on a short film than it can be on a big one. But I know in Canada, especially on the West Coast, I've heard that they're taking advantage of this and they're actually moving forward. And hopefully they're doing the same in Ontario and Quebec. I heard that they're building studios out west as well. And so, I don't know what's your question. How can we take advantage of it? You get in front of them. You get to the casting director. You get the gig. You be the best. That's how you do it. You raise. Do not think of it as a Canadian movie. Never think of anything as a French film or it's just an Italian picture or just an Egyptian picture or Nigerian. No, it's a movie, and that you have to bring your A game. And I don't care if you're in Hamilton or if in New York or if you're in Los Angeles or if you're in, I don't know, any tiny city in the world. You bring your A game, you bring the best, and you treat that like it's the big time. So you better prepare for it. You better get there. You better blow them the hell away by your preparation and by your dedication and your gratitude for the opportunity, even if you're being paid babkas. That's what you do.
Thank you.
Yes,
David, there's a David asking a question, I believe. David?
Yes, I had a question for you. You said you had actors. You had actors picking people that were significant in their lives. How many picked parents? How many picked significant others? How many picked siblings, teachers, and how did that go? I'd like to find out more about that.
Can you ask that question again, because I didn't really catch it, what it is.
The actors that you said, you had the actors pretend to be someone in their life to be a character.
To choose a significant person from their life.
Yeah. How many chose parents? How many chose their significant other? How many
Well, you know
siblings?
what?
What did they?
I didn't really ask because I wanted to keep them feeling free.
Okay,
So I didn't pin
that
them
makes it.
down on who it was. In this one seminar we did in June, there was a fellow in that seminar who chose his brother, who he hadn't spoken to. They'd had a falling out. They were not relating to each other. He chose his brother to work on, and it changed his life, and it changed his relationship. He got together with his brother again. By becoming his brother, he understood something he didn't understand before.
That's what I wanted to know, because I wondered how much. I just saw people who had a broke. I thought they would choose someone they had a broken relationship with, and I wondered how would that heal the relationship or further breaking. That was my question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Arlie, sorry.
Yeah.
Arlie, you have a question. So raise. I see. So David, if you'll mute yourself, and Arlie, if you'll come on, I'm getting the. Thank you very much, guys, for showing me how to do this. Arlie, go ahead.
Yes. You hear me?
I can. And so anybody, I guess you put this little hand emoticon up there. How did you do that?
It's right where it says participants.
Yeah.
Right in the bottom, you have lower, upper hand, yes, no.
Okay, so that's how everybody should do it rather than actually physically raising the hand.
You see the blue hand? There's a little blue hand.
Yeah, the little blue hand. The blue hand of God, or I don't know, the black hand. Whatever. Okay, so you have the floor, Arlie.
Thank you. So yes, this is going back to going and being in lockdown. You were speaking about casting a movie, right? And I mean, things have changed so much. Like, for example, I'm back in Spain, in Mallorca, an island where, it's beautiful to be here. Yeah. It's awesome to be here through this time because we feel a lot safer maybe than other parts of the world. But I came here way before lockdown for personal reasons. And I thought, oh my God, disadvantage because I'm not in London, I'm not in LA, I'm not in New York. I used to be in Paris, which was another thing, but you could be in the room with the directors. Yes. Now I was forced just to do e-casting, which I'm fine. I love e-casting because I don't know why people don't. I think it's awesome for me personally. But what I don't like is that next step, which is like meeting the director, being able to have a one-on-one conversation.
So what's your question about that, Arlie?
My question is, because for me, for example, now I feel like I'm in less disadvantage because everybody's on the same boat. So as I am.
You can't just rely on your beauty and charm in the room. Exactly. You have to do it on video. Yeah, I mean, it is tough to see, especially, I don't know how you put two actors together and who are in different locations and try and see what their chemistry is between two actors or an actor and actress or two actresses. I don't know how you do that because they're not in the same room. Often chemistry is created by proximity. You know that in personal life or in your job. It's not until you step up to the actor or actress that you go, oh wow, what is that? What is it? Either the sparks this person's giving off, the intensity, the anger, the whatever. There's something there. It's so hard to see that when they're thousands of miles or hundreds of miles or even a room apart. So I don't know how you do it. I don't know. I do know that everyone, as you said, is dealing with the same thing. And I mean, I guess I can just say that so many times in my casting, I haven't had the opportunity to put two actors together just because of I don't know, the pace that we went at in casting and the amount of time it took. By the time I got to, I think this actor or actress might be right for this role. I think there's been like 3 times in my life where I've been able to put them with the other actor who's going to play that and see how they are together. So I don't think we're losing that much. At least I would love to be able to do it, but I wasn't able to do it that much before. So we just we're all in this. It's a level playing field. The nice thing, as you said, is that you can be in Mallorca and you can compete with somebody in Paris or London or New York. if you're willing to deal with the time change, it's like, that's all you got. So, and the lighting, I know my ex-wife invested in a big, beautiful backdrop and some lights. And I think that's smart. The lights, especially, just because we are idiots. Directors, producers are idiots. You have to know this. We only know exactly what we see. We can't imagine anything. So you got to present us, not, to come in wardrobe, but your lighting better be good, which just means one of those little silly glow lamp things. It's not a big deal. Invest $20 for it. You don't have to go out and do the whole shamil. But yeah, just present yourself the best you can. I'm saying nothing that no one doesn't know, so sorry. Who else?
I got a question for you, Paul.
Yeah.
How do you feel about casting?
I hate casting. I hate casting because I spend so much time doing it. And I get into, my problem, here's why I love looking at tapes back in the old days and then looking at people who'd self-taped at home, or why do we even call it tape anymore? We go back to are we on video still? But people who send in their auditions, I love because I can turn them off. When the actor's in the room with me, I fall in love with absolutely every actor and actress who walks in the door because I know what they come with. They're there. This is a dream machine, and people come and they bring their dreams with them, and they want you to help them fulfill those dreams. And they walk into the room with that, and the weight of having that in the room, it's terrible. So, yeah. I used to get shit all the time. In fact, I still do, from my casting directors and from my producers. And remember, my ex-wife would do this when she was helping me cast as well. She said, Paul, you can't spend half an hour with every single person who comes into the room. In the first 30 seconds, they're no good. They're not right for the role. Not that they're no good actors. They don't get, into the hall unless they're good. But they're not right. I go, yeah, but they came. They showed up. So you want them to give the best chance. You try this, try that, try this. So I'd spend what a normal human being would spend a couple of hours casting, a couple dozen people. I would spend like 6-8 hours, drive people nuts. And know from the beginning that they weren't right for the role.
Mm-hmm.
But also, sometimes you want to be surprised. You always want to be surprised, not sometimes. And sometimes I was surprised. There are people on this Zoom who really surprised me, who I judged when I first met them. And I think a couple of them really know that. And I went, oh yeah, that's this kind of person. That's just, it's a beautiful man, it's a beautiful woman, or it's this person or that. Or it's, or whatever we come with when we see the person walk in the door, and we judge them. We always judge them. And then they do a scene for me, usually in one of these master classes, and I go, oh, wow, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that you had that in you, that you just transformed yourself. I'm just such an idiot. And I learned that each time. So I try not to judge people by the things we all judge people by what they bring in, the way they stand, the way they move, the way they act, their age, their youth, whatever they come with. So that's wonderful. When we can be surprised by an actor, or we can go, oh, you know what you just did? So wrong. I can't tell you. It's just like completely not my vision. But thank you for that. Let's try this. Try it in a whole different way. And they take you, and you see something in your work that you never knew was there, because what their gifts, they're bringing it to you. They're a number of people on this Zoom have done that to me. It just completely blown me away with choices that I would never have thought. Either in this is not usually my work, but this is in in the scenes they do that I've seen before. I went, wow, I didn't think that was in that line or the thing. So that's always wonderful. So as much as I hate it, because I want to cast every single person who walks in the door, honest to God, if you come in the door, I want you to have the job. I just want to be able, one person come in, have them read it. He leaves, he's got the job, I get to go home. That's all I want. So, but it doesn't happen that way. So It's painful.
That's an important message for all you actors here. That's an important message. I mean, I said this to the actors a couple of weeks ago. I said, you know, if you hate the auditions, the directors hate it as much as you do. Come on.
Yeah, we want you to come in. We want the first person to come in, be brilliant. We go, whew, all right, let's go to lunch. Cast the person and walk out. That's all we want. That's why I love making offers to actors, and I do it a lot with actors I know. Actors I don't know how they would ever play this role. I mean, Sandy Bullock, a lot of these people in Crash, I had no idea how they were going to play those scenes, and that really excited me. Because, you know, just Oscar Isaac in this HBO thing I did a couple of years ago, I had he was physically completely wrong. He was playing he was playing a guy, he was playing a Polish guy, or I don't know what it was. It was a true life story. And I went, my God, but he's so brilliant. So we cast him. I had no idea what he was going to do. And my God, every day he brought something. So did all the actors that I cast, even the tiniest parts. They brought something. Went, ooh. I'm so blessed to be in the room with these actors. So that I love just offering it to somebody and say, and then they walk in and they go, they're so this way or that way, and you sort of nudge them this way, nudge them that way, and you get to a performance. But yeah, the casting is torturous for us as it is for you. I mean, please, it's not like real work. We're not actually suffering. No one's suffering here, other than you. I mean, we just have to sit there. But it is, honest to God, the actors who think that when they walk into the room that they're not going to get it, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. I mean, unless they already, unless it's cynical. If the casting is cynical, and sometimes that occurs. You know, they're just going through the motions. They know they're going to offer it to this actress or this actor, and they're just going through the motions. But if they're there, they want you. Now, I've had this situation where I haven't been able to give it to the person who came in the room because, you know, a big actor or actress calls and says, Paul, I really want that role. And my producers say, we need that person, you know, because you get the funding. It's a small role. I go, okay, I've had that. And it's heartbreaking to have to tell that actor, that actress, you didn't get it. Not because you weren't the best, but because someone who's more famous wanted the role. That's really unfair. But I remember that person. I always remember that person. And I bring them back in for something else. Or I just did the short film with an actress who had impressed me so much back when I was doing The Next 3 Days. She's really impressed me. And then she asked me to do the short film that she'd raised the money with. And so I said, sure. And so I did it. I spent my time and did it with her because I was so impressed with her talent. So we will remember you, even if you don't get the role. It happened to me when I was starting as a writer. I would go in, I'd pitch to television shows. I was in my early 20s, and I'd pitching and pitching and pitching. I'd spend all week to come up with, ideas, sometimes 2-3 weeks to come up with ideas, and you'd only have 10 minutes in their office. That's all you'd have to pitch your ideas, sell your idea for that episode, and leave. And 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you would leave having failed. But occasionally they'd remember you. I'd go, yeah, that guy, he had a lot of heart, and he had all these 6 stories, and they weren't what we wanted, but boy, let's have him in. And it happened to me. People then would call me and go, listen, I've got this new show. I really liked what you did. I've never seen, I'm a nobody writer at the time, but they called me in for that. So people will call you back. So always bring your A game, always go in excited and grateful, and know if you don't get the role, there's many, many, many reasons for it. Don't take it personally. I know it's really hard not to take personally, but it's so, 95% of the time, if you did a really good job, it really, they needed a taller woman. They needed a shorter man. They needed, they needed somebody who was older, or they didn't want to do the makeup, or there's lots of different reasons. Or in my case, as I said, it was somebody who, they're going to help get the money for the movie or for the TV show. Sorry, it's a long way of asking how much I hate casting. Who else had hands up here? We had, I can't, okay, we have one Carlos DeBuck.
That would be me.
Ah, that's you. Hello, Juan Carlos.
Hi.
What's your question?
My question is actually for Michael.
Thank God.
Going back to the beginning of the Zoom call, you talked about people having to pick a family member, a significant other, to play. And I was wondering, are there like sort of steps to get their personalities down better? Because, for instance, I obviously know who my mother is because I've grown up with her, but I fear that if I were to play or try to play her, I would come off like a caricature of my mother.
Yeah, I think that's something that actors think about. But you know what? It's if you don't push, if you just play with that, like the body, the breathing, all the things that she's very obviously it's your mother. She's embedded in you. Your subconscious. There's a lot of details you can bring, and if you don't push, if you just have fun with that and play with that a little bit, and don't worry about whether you're doing an imitation or you're real. You're playing with it the same way. When we worked on it, I encouraged people to approach it. When we do animal work, for instance, I don't want any tigers in the room eating bunny rabbits. Okay, that's for real. I don't want that kind of nonsense. So basically, what do? In the beginning, you choose an animal to work on, and you approach that. It's all technical. You're just trying to get your body to do, which is almost impossible to do what the animal's body does. You do it technically in the beginning. You don't go anywhere. And nowadays, in the old days when people did that kind of work, the only way they could do it was to go to the zoo. And there they had to take a camera, and that's before video cameras. So you had to take an 8mm camera, and if you wanted to be a tiger, you had to go there and with a notebook and draw pictures, and you didn't have any other way. And then eventually, when we had VHS tapes, people could get a National Geographic tape and study it at home. Okay, but now we have YouTube, and you can see.
I mean, I think what you're saying too is something that Michael works the method, which I so admire, and I watch him work, and I learn so much from him. I work very differently because I never studied the way and trained the way Michael did. And I direct more than teach. I don't, when I work these classes, I just sort of nudge you this way and that with try different things. But if you were asking me, how do you play your mother? As you said, there's so much of my mother in me. It's not a caricature, she's in me. I just have to look at that and go, okay, what's in me already, and amplify that. Let that grow until I would become more like her. No, I'm not mimicking her. I'm in any way, but that her mannerisms might even start coming out. I don't know, but I'm not thinking of her mannerisms. You can work in the external, you can work in the internal. I would say work either way is good, but I could certainly work with, find things of my grandmother, or doing in her tea leaves she used to read, that she used to, at the bottom of the coffee cup, the coffee grounds and things. Just by picking up a coffee cup, I could sort of start to think about her. And so there's all processes. You should never do mimicry, but whether you work from the inside or work from the outside, there's ways to play your mother. Now, obviously, that Michael's much more skilled at.
As long as you don't push.
Yeah.
So
we got who we got? We got lots of people with hands up here.
Thank you, by the way.
Okay, we got Bo Daniel looks next.
Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Paul, my question's for you. I see on your Instagram sort of that you will take yourself out for dinner as part of the writing process, or whatever it is that we introverts tend to do as we embark on our creativity. I just always wanted to know, what's that self-determining factor? What's that drive for you when you're in between projects, when you're trying to bring something to life? a new vision or a new idea. And, you know, it's always nice to be at the tail end of things when we start actualizing things. But when it starts as a seed of an idea, what's that thing that gets you to go to get your butt down there to that restaurant or wherever it is?
That's easy. Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
It's desperation.
Okay.
It's just absolute desperation. I mean, when I wake up and I don't have a project to work on that day, I shouldn't be this shallow. I really shouldn't. I should have a full life, and I should appreciate so much. And I do. I appreciate my kids. I appreciate, you know, everyone in my life. But when I wake up and I don't have that thing, you know, that I'm gonna work on, or the idea I'm gonna struggle with, I'm just so depressed. I'm so depressed. And so I have to sit and struggle with my pad of paper or whatever I brought that day until I start to come up with something that excites me. It's a long process. And there are people who teach writing quite well, and I've learned from so many. I'm listening to Corey Mandel right now, and he has some great ideas on how to get across that. But there's, you know, people, Truby and others who over the years have come up with terrific things. I remember when I first did what was his name? So influential in my life. Robert McKee. Back in the 80s, when I did his course, he taught me some things that really helped, were tricks to get into that headspace and get the next thing, those questions to ask yourself. It's the hardest thing for me too. I've written a lot, and either getting into that thing that I really want to write, or overcoming those problems. Overcoming the problems is not as bad as not having one. I'm in the middle of a problem right now, massive problem. I got halfway into something, an original thing I'm writing, when I realized, halfway, and writing, etc., when I realized it was complete bullshit. It didn't work at all. Now, I should be smarter than that. I shouldn't put 3 months in every day, you know, working on something that I'd already developed years before, you know, and put 6 months into before, and I was redeveloping it and going along. I shouldn't put three solid months, 8 hours a day, six days a day, 6 days a week, and then realize it was complete bullshit. But I did. And, oh no, not again. And that sent me into a tailspin. And so I allowed myself to just feel really sorry for myself for a day. I just realized I was never going to create anything again of worth, and it was never going to be, I could never figure out how to do it, or it was like, you know, I let myself feel really sorry for myself for a day, and then got out and got my yellow pad out. Just, in this case, I've got this new little writing thing that I work with, and just started and just said, okay, what's my problem? What's my big problem here? Okay, that is it. Okay, that's unsolvable. Great. That's what you want. You want in your protagonist something that's impossible for them to accomplish. That's the basis of every movie. It's impossible to get the girl to climb Everest, to jump the thing. As long as it's impossible, we want to watch it. So now I've got something impossible. Great, to figure out this damn story, because these characters just aren't going where I want them to go. Shit. And so after a day, I got one idea. I went, okay. And I started to see the possibility. And the next day, a couple things fell in place. So I'm a week into this. I haven't solved the problem, but I know I'm towards solving it. So that makes me happy. I'm fine. I'm on the journey still. So having a problem to solve creatively is great. And this isn't, no one's paid for this. No one's will ever make this maybe. I don't care. I'm the same situation as you. I just want to create that day. And usually I sit here or someplace like this at my house. This is the new place to sit. And do it. Occasionally I will take myself out, yes, for some lunch, and I'll take my laptop with me. Hopefully it's some beautiful picturesque place. Hopefully I'm lucky enough to be in Italy or some other place in the world. And so I can take a picture of my laptop. People love my laptop way much more than they love me. They go, oh, there's your laptop. There's 1,500 likes. Me, you know, oh yeah, 200 likes. It's like, oh, yes. But yeah, see what I'm doing. Working on that struggle, I think is one that we're all go through. So yeah, you just get there.
Just do it.
But you said something. You said having a problem to solve, and I think that's are you a writer, Bo, or are you an actor?
I'm an actor, but yeah, it was just more but even for writing, because I think it's all the same process, you know, that when we have this seed of an idea, whatever it is, when there's not the opportunity to do what we want to do just yet, it all starts internally, and it's that sort of struggle of trying to actualize something that starts as a seed of an idea in our head. So yeah, I think that answers it for me, though. You just do it. You just struggle and you just do it.
We have a bunch of people to get through, and I'm so sorry my answer.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
How do you say this name? Drkambiz. I'm going to completely destroy that name if I try it.
Hi, Paul. My name is Cambiz, and I'm a writer.
Say again, Cambiz?
Cambiz, yes.
Oh, so it's Dr. Cambiz? Is DR is doctor?
Yes, sorry. I logged in with my email.
No,
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm a writer. So my question is for you. You mentioned you were in depression for about a month. I want to know, how did you bounce back, and also were you writing during that time? How did you?
That's why I was in depression, because I wasn't writing, because I just couldn't think of what to write. I couldn't think of, if I did write, how to get it made. Even me, it's like at this time, it's like, it's hard. And it's not like, you see, in normal times, we can use our friends, our acquaintances, the city we're in, our surroundings, to pretend that we don't have a problem. When you're in lockdown, you can't use those things anymore. And it is horrible for me to say that I use my friends like that, but I do. That's why I have friends, so I can use them. Or my kids. I call you up. Why are you calling me, Dad? Oh, I just love you. No, bullshit. You're just bored. You know, whatever. So, or you're trying to get out of your problem. So that's when you don't have it. That's the problem. Yeah. So I did. As soon as I thought, oh, I could write that. There's an idea. I was fine. And from that point, it was just the struggle to make it happen. And that struggle is, whether it's you're writing or directing, it is hard right now. I haven't directed anything for ages. And I'd love to, but it's hard because you got to get the project together, and it's hard to do that. But yeah, just not having something. So thanks for your question, Cambiz. Abbas, how are you? Been a while.
How are you? Thank you very much for this, man. This film festival is great. Thank you for both of you guys for giving this opportunity. I got 2 questions and 1 statement. It might help my fellow actors, and 2 very difficult questions that I've been struggling with for you and Michael. So my statement is, I was struggling. I got big depression. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to drink alcohol, use drugs, whatever, to get over this shit. I couldn't. So eventually I thought of something. I said, I've got a couple of actors. They want to act. They want to do some work. I told them, let's put some money together, all of us. Yeah. And I have an idea about the story, because as actors, we are all storytellers. So I said, let's write it down. I don't care if it's good or not. Let's just try it, right? So put it all together. And then now we have 2 issues. We brought some money together, so we can even film it with an iPhone.
What are your questions?
So my question is this for you, Paul. We are writing. We have a story in our mind, and I searched a lot of the internet, and I saw that it's a horror movie. Alfred Hitchcock is saying you have to think about the audience more than the actors yourself and the story. You need to bring the audience to somewhere. And when I watch your movies and what you told me, you say, I write about the characters and I make the worst thing happening to them.
Yes.
Right? And then when I do that, I get lost from the audience. So do I have to focus on the audience to have this intensity? And then I get an issue with act 1 or 2 or 3. How do I do it?
You can question. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, forget the audience. It's not, you don't write for the audience ever. However, you are the audience as you are writing it, right? You are the audience. You write this, you write that. As I so wish sometimes I'd put a camera on myself while I'm writing, because when I'm going and I'm into the scene, you know, it's like I'm transported. I was like, oh my God, this person just came in the door. Oh my God, it's just, I'm shocked of this. You know, I'm a very bad actor, but it was like you are in that moment watching those things play out in your head. So you are the audience. The characters should surprise you. They should take you on a journey that you don't expect to go on, even if you're creating it. That said, there is a craft. You can't just sit around, you know, and 6 people go, and what about this? And what about that? And what about, I mean, you can do that, but somebody better know what the craft is. And actors are really good at coming up with, you know, the moment to moment in a scene, etc., an event, this, exactly. But how that comes into a story, they're usually really bad at it because that's not their job. Their job is to be in the moment. Now, when Michael will sit with you and he gets you to look at the entire script and deconstruct it, you'll see this and this, and I have this major moment here and I got to work towards this and this. Fine, but that's once you see the whole thing there and can deconstruct it. Constructing it is a whole different thing than deconstructing it. And that's what you find with writing teachers too. They're really good at deconstructing things and saying, well, if you just do it in the reverse, it'll work. It's not true. You know, that's why some of the greatest writing teachers can't write. Some really good acting teachers probably can't act. I mean, Michael is a great actor. I've cast him. He's a wonderful actor. But I don't think every great acting coach or acting teacher can act. They're different things. So learn the craft, what you need to do. It's great you got 6 people together. Forget the money. Forget all that stuff. Learn the craft. Sign on to a storytelling seminar. I mean, as Corey does it, as I said, there's, you know, McKee does it, Truby does it. They all have them online. Sign on to one, learn the basics, because you have to. One thing that was given to me by Corey recently, I watched one of his things from Corey Mandel, and it was just a trick of, write down what your character wants. You know, they want to become a band leader. Okay, any idea? A character wants to become a band leader. Okay, then you ask yourself, how is that impossible? What do you mean, how's it impossible? How would it be impossible for a character to become a band leader? Well, he's deaf. Can't hear a word. Can't hear a note. Okay, that's one way. Or he, he's isolated. He's on an island, he's all by himself with only other people he knows, have no musical instruments. I mean, you just look at some way that say, how is it impossible? And when you come up with one, they go, ooh, that's great. That's your story, right? And then you work towards that. You don't just go, hey, I've got a guy who wants to be a band leader, and he meets a guy with a violin, and he meets this guy over here with this, and the girl who has an oboe, and they have a band, and then they have these problems, and then the band breaks up, and then they get back together, and then it's over. No, that's not a story. That's and then. Find yourself a way to make it into something you go, wow, I want to watch this guy become a band leader, because it'll teach me something about perseverance, about loss, about love, about all these things in his attempt or her attempt to become a band leader. So you need the craft. First thing you need, not money, not a bunch of people, craft. Learn your craft.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Albert. So we have a lot of guys who have been asking, so I'm going to skip over Giampiero for a second and go to Kaya. I assume Kaya is a woman. Is that true? I'll come back to Giampiero.
No, Kaya is me.
Kaya, again, Jesus Christ. Kaya, you already asked your fucking question. Get off there. We'll come back to you. Kaya, how did I think you were a woman? Oh my God, I love you. Kaya's one of my favorite actors, by the way. one of those people who really surprised me, and when I saw his work, really, I hope to see a lot more of you. Okay, Deanna, I hope are you a woman? I hope. Or are you going to screw with my expectations as well? And we'll come back to you as well, Kaya. Deanna.
Deanna. Okay. Thank you.
A woman. Excellent. Finally. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I would like to ask a question to you too, but also to Michael about the issue of rediscovering the roots of acting. And in this period of posing, of no jobs, how can we train to rediscover these roots, to get in touch again with these roots?
Rediscover the roots of
acting.
Yeah. Well, are we talking about the history of acting, or are we talking about your own personal roots of acting?
No, in general, the roots of acting, the why. I mean, the why of acting.
The why, the purpose of acting.
Yes.
Well, what is the purpose of acting?
Mama. The truth, discovering the truth of emotions, I think.
To tell stories.
To tell stories, yes.
People need stories.
Mama.
And we do need new stories. We need soul stories now. Real soul stories. The old stories don't travel the highway anymore. So it's for me, you know, when I was talking about the roots of acting, I was talking about where it all started from, because when drama first started, of course, it was more of a spiritual offering and a way for explaining the divine mysteries and the origins of many things, the origins of violence even. But it changed, obviously. It became something else. It wasn't spiritual anymore. It became a nice day out. And then if we see what happened eventually, it became the Roman Forum, where it was more fun to watch tigers eating Christians. And that was entertaining. So we're in a very strange place right now, obviously, in storytelling. I mean, we're in a strange place, period. We're all in the same boat, more or less, globally speaking. And the reasons that mathematically add up to that happening, I think, whatever culture you're from or whatever part of the world you're from, the stories are not helping a lot. But this is why I am encouraging actors to expand a little bit and to try to even get in touch with some, you know, of their own deep, secret feelings and attitudes, and to try to express those. Write a monologue, create a character that nobody would ever cast you in. To really try to get in touch with the roots of your own. I mean, in this kind of a question, I think you're talking about yourself as an actress.
Yes, maybe to try to find my own story. I don't know, to write my own story and to discover how to tell it, how to.
We'll have to do this again. We did a seminar workshop in Italy 2 years ago, wasn't it? I think Feta, with Michael, myself, Feta, and Manu. We all got together and we spent a week taking actors through the process of writing their own first short film and creating those characters so that you could go make that short film, short play, or whatever. We didn't make them that week. We just taught you how to do it when you came with it. We should do that again. It's a wonderful process. I had so much fun doing it. And we had, I don't know, 30, 40 actors there for a week in this small ancient town of Bolsena, in just the border of Lazio and Umbria. We'll do that again. But it is a journey. Ellen is next, and then Alice, and then we'll get back to Giampiero and Kaya. So Ellen, you're up.
Hi, I'm Eileen from Belgium, and I have a small question. I'm a beginning actress, and I was wondering, now that we can get like a lot of exposure, because a lot of places where people would gather to get themselves out are now not possible. And I was wondering how to get that first experience, because a lot of casting agents also ask like first your experience, and then they already block on that. So I wonder how to actually get in in the beginning, and to get that first.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question, because you're right. We want to see something. We don't want you to just come and say, hey, I'm a really good actress. Cast me. Let me read for this. No, we have too many people who want to read for that role. We need to have we, meaning the casting director and assistant casting director, and the people want to see something. So I think people are starting to understand that it's really hard for beginning actors this year to get out and show them and drag them to that little play or that thing. So yes, I think find a way to put yourself, on tape digitally. What do we say? We film yourself. You can't stop film anymore. I don't know any of the words to use anymore. But to shoot something short that you can show people would be good. You and another colleague, another actor, perhaps, just a scene, something simple that features you, that's well lit. I mean, you're well lit now, so it's fine. Whatever light you're using, that's fine. You don't have to be fancy. But just to do something, and then we can go, oh, she can act. Okay, have her in. That might not work with 80% of the people, but it'll work with 20%. 20%'s a pretty good shot. So just do not let it stop you. Shoot a little something. It could be a scene from something that's already been done, a movie, a play, it doesn't really matter. It could be something you've written yourself. It's just a scene. It shouldn't be any longer than like 2 minutes. It tops, it features you. The camera does not have to be on the other person, unless, however, if you're both going to do it, I mean, if the other person wants to, is going to help you, maybe it's an actor who also is in the same situation. So you're going to do it together. So you pool your money together to make it a little better quality. And that person, that man or that woman will also get to use that as something that they can show. It's not a bad thing for two people together and go, okay, let's do this together as a project. And honest to God, if you don't have lights, sit near a window. Fine, put two people across the table from a window. It's not, and if you do one person one day and the other day, or you get two cameras so that you can see them both at the same time, you can feature you both, and you can be both well lit. The lighting is not a mystery. So that I think we have to do something. And then send it to that casting director and say, I know, you said you wanted to see that, you didn't want to see these, but here it is anyways. 80% of them won't, look at it, but 20% will. Okay. All right. So we've got, who was that? That was Ellen. Okay. We've got Alice.
Hi.
Hi, Alice.
Hi. I would like to ask you, which are the needs of today's movies? For example, are there particular aspects that we need to develop in our acting? Or do you know, as an actor, we have to develop particular aspects in our acting to be seen, or that's my question.
I don't know how to answer that question, Michael.
What was the question?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. Maybe you can be more specific.
What was the question, Alice?
We don't.
The question was that there are particular needs for today's movies. As an actor, we have to develop particular aspects in our acting and in our training.
Are you talking about technologically, the technology?
Yes, but the way of act.
The way of acting.
Yes, the way of acting.
But the way of acting is not, are we talking about working with green screen where you don't have anything, any real objects?
We don't know. I mean, when you say way of acting, do you mean, I guess it's hard for us to understand what you're saying. We want to answer your question.
Yes. I don't know how to tell, but probably in this time, even the movies will change and develop. And so we as actors
I see
have
what
to
you
develop
mean.
our acting too, to be.
I see what you mean. No, you don't. No.
Okay.
People say about this all the time. I constantly hear that you have to do this to be in the theater. You have to do this to be in movies. You have to do this way to be in television. And it's just not true. Acting is acting is acting. There are different techniques to use. If you're on a stage, you need to be able to project. You need to understand what it means if you turn your back to the audience. There are things, but your director's there to help you with that, and people are there to help you. You have to learn, yes, but there are techniques to learn how to project without yelling. Yes, but as soon as you put microphones in a situation, whether it's on television or if it's on Zoom or if it's in a movie, it's the same thing. Acting is acting is acting. It's being honest in that moment, and so it's digging in. It's finding somebody like Michael to coach you, and with along the way, and finding the right process for you, which is very, very important. I mean, every actor has things that will help them and things that won't. There are actors on this Zoom who Michael destroyed right before my eyes, and then came to love him again because they figured out how he was destroyed. But and then because that's part of the process, tearing you down, pulling you back up is part of the process. It's not a cruel thing he's doing. He's just saying, okay, what you're doing is this, and so to get you back to that truth, to get you back to that character. So find what works for you. It might be the method. It could be there's tons of different ways that people approach characters. But find something and work on it every week. Every week. I would say every day, but it's hard. But every day if you can, work on it. 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. It doesn't really matter. Work on that. Same if you're a writer or anything. Find a way to work in your craft every day. So thank you. And now we have to go back because we skipped over Giampiero.
Yes. Hi, Paul. How are you?
Good.
You said, I think it was 6-7 years ago that there was a seminar at the Chiostro del Bramante with Michael. You said something that stuck with me pretty much all these years, where you're happy when they cut some of your budget, where you use budget limitations to narrow down choices, make your films better, etc. I'm wondering, the way this question began was more of a technical nature in the sense that right now you're writing certain things. How is this situation, the pandemic, affecting the way that you write in terms of what you imagine you will be able to shoot? Then also, apart from the writing, how do the limitations of the new way of shooting, which will have to at least go on for another year of all the restrictions and everything. Yeah. And this brought me to something even further, which maybe also Michael can answer, is how do you think stories are going to be affected?
Okay, so of those three,
in the next,
pick one and we'll answer it.
Fine. How are stories going to be affected? The next 5 years of stories, how are they going to be affected from these last 2 years?
Interesting, because I'll answer it a little bit, then Michael can. This script, I just wrote a script with my daughter a year and a half ago, and we finished it. I looked at the title page, March 2nd of this year.
Maybe focus.
Okay, Abbas, you got to turn off your Abbas. You got to. Okay, so I finished it on March 2nd, and then we sent it out. I then reread it because we sent it out to some actors and to try and cast it to get our money. I reread it about 4 months later because we weren't having any luck casting this thing, and it was really terrific, and based on her idea. And it's a comedy about crushing depression, chronic pain, and suicide. Topics I find funny. So that was my version of a comedy. Anyway, so I'm having a hard time casting it. People are just turning it down. And so my first thought was, I reread it and went, oh my God, it reads like it's 1985. No, someone walked up to the window in this scene I walked up a car window, looked in, and saw, and the other person was sick inside. And they knocked on the window. I had the person roll down the window and says, "Are you okay?" No one's going to do that anymore. No one's going to think that we should do that. That's insane to do that right now. So it's like you look at it and go, what century are these people from? It was just written a week before the lockdown. Our lives changed completely. So I went through, and with Katie, I went through and we adjusted some things like that to say, okay, what's the new reality? What is life? Because this is supposed to be the present, even if it's an indistinct present. And then so I had to project ahead, what's life going to be like in a year and a half? Are we still going to be wearing masks? Are we still going to be, is that still in our life? And I went, yeah, I think it's going to, there's still going to be some of it. You know, we're never going to lose it completely now. It's like after 9/11, things just don't necessarily go back the way they were. A shoe bomber, one shoe bomber, and you know, we all have to take off our shoes, the entire world, when you go through a scanner. Things are going to change. So we have to predict that. And then finally, I just talked to my producers after getting more rejections, and we got a really astute one from a wonderful actress. She said, I can't do this right now. It's just too depressing. It's just, I can't tell this story right now. And even though it's ultimately uplifting, like $1 Million Baby was ultimately uplifting, and in some way it made you feel good in going through all of that pain. You feel satisfied somehow. At the same time, the journeys we don't want to take right now, and that was one of them. So we decided to shelve it because it was a journey no one wanted to take at this moment. 6 months from now, a year from now, they might, but you know. So stories are going to change in the short term. Michael?
Yeah, I can't see how. I mean, if you turn on Netflix now, you're going to see people are in the middle of the soup and they're watching whatever genre appeals to them. I think this is just going to continue.
Yeah. I can't see, by the way, if you have got your question answered, turn off your hand, because I see all the hands are still on there and I can't figure out who has a pending question. I think Ben, you do. Ben Dakaya. Have we answered your question, Ben?
Ben Akaya, hey, from Germany. Hey, folks.
Hi.
Yeah, I've got a question. It's about the casting process and you as a writer, Paul. Yeah. When you develop so hard a character and you finished it, and then we as an actor comes with our imagination and say, okay, I wanna play it completely different.
Yeah.
So when you say, yeah, surprise me, do you really mean, okay, destroy the fucking figure, the role, you can do what you want, or do you have a percentage where you say, okay, at least I want to see this? And after that,
you cannot really know that ahead of time. You cannot subvert the entire purpose of the piece, right? There is a purpose. The character is going to have an arc, and you have to know what that is. How a character gets from A to B, though, might be slightly different than the way I imagined it, right? Mm-hmm. I write parenthetically very poorly. This man and woman are having a fight, and the woman yells at the man, and I wrote yelling, get the hell out of my life, and I never want to see you again. Okay, then that's how I imagined it. That actress comes in and goes, get the hell out of my life, I never want to see you again, and walks out, right? And you go, oh, that was great. Why did I write yell? That's stupid. You know, so it's still the intent. The intent is there. It just interpreted in a completely new way. And that's what you want. You still have to end the scene where the scene has to be ended. And you have to get out of that scene what you need to get out. But how you get it out, that's your magic. And do not be cowed by us putting little parenthetical descriptions, yell or stomps or storms or, you know, sarcastic or all these stupid things we write, you know. You interpret that the way you want to interpret that and surprise us. Because the surprise that guy just gave, I cast a person because they just did that. You know, they went, oh my God, that's so powerful. What you did, you took all the power. That's what the whole point is. And I was letting you lose the power. Now you should keep the power. So struggle for the power, you know, struggle for control always as your character, because that's what we do in life. But how you struggle, That's up to you. All right. So who else? So guys, some of the people have to turn off their hands because if you've asked a question, we can't get back to you again a second time until everybody else is. So everybody who's asked a question and had an answer, please turn off their hand so that I can see. So we got Kaya, Alice, Ben, Ricardo. Oh, good. So, all right. So who hasn't asked a question? So Kaya, Kaya, I never got back to you. There you go. Kaya, your question. This is your
I think Mariangela had a question and she's not being asked. I've just seen her make a gesture.
Really? Where's Mariangela? I don't see her. Let's see. Mariangela? How do I not have this? I just have...
Yeah, it's me. Hi.
Hello, how are you? I'm sorry you didn't show up on my little list here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, Michael. I know
Ciao, Mariangela. Ciao.
Hi, it's long time. My question is always the same, how to find a real casting? This is a problem.
Do you know what?
Well, you heard this question in a way before. Right now, I think that whatever that impulse is in you that wants to create something, and you feel you need to have another step into the business world of acting, I think you just have to keep doing everything you can. You have to start with yourself, really. I mean, when I deal with actors, you got to understand, I deal with so many actors that I come to understand some of these problems are so universal almost. Some of us have to find ourselves before we find a character.
Yeah. Not the character.
Because look, every actor here, and I heard Paul answer this.
I think she means how to get a job.
The technology exists today to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
People are doing things all over the place. What do you want to do? You have to know what you want.
Yeah, I know. You always told me that. Say me that.
Well, if I ask actors that question, rarely are they specific.
Because we all want to work. We want to work.
Yes, I want to see myself on the screen. I want to be good. I have the list right here. I want to touch others. I want to feel powerful emotions. I want an Oscar. I want a space to express myself. I want to be a successful artist. I want to work with good directors like Paul Haggis. I want to communicate deeply, fully. Okay, what's the problem? What's the obstacle? Are you judging yourself? Do you have a lack of patience?
Or is it opportunity, or is it you haven't got you feel you can't?
Are you not doing enough? You can create these things yourself.
Yeah, you got to reach out. Here's the answer to that. Your answer is it's impossible. What you are trying to do, what everyone on this Zoom is trying to do, including myself, is impossible. It cannot be done. Now, your job is to do that.
Yeah.
Just do the impossible. It's as simple as that. You only have one task, do the impossible. It never gets any easier. It's always impossible. It's impossible where I am. And people think, oh yeah, no, that's not true. Well, it's a lot less impossible, sure, because I don't have to worry that I'm going to be kicked out of my apartment this week like I was often early in my career, or that I couldn't feed my kids if I didn't go work as a furniture mover for $5 an hour. I had to get enough. Yes, you have to do all that. And it's much easier for me now, but it's still impossible to tell a good story, and to get it out there and to get it made with great actors and it's impossible. So now just accept that. Know it's impossible and go do it. And figure out, every step along the way, just like as if you were writing this story, you go, okay, this man is setting up, or this woman is setting up to do something. They want to climb Everest and they're in a wheelchair. You know, that's impossible. Okay. What's the first step? How are they going to do that? You know, people in wheelchairs have gotten to the top of Mount Everest. How? Read about it. It's happened. It's pretty damn hard. It's actually impossible, but they did it. And we have to cast ourselves as those heroes and heroines and then do those things, because we sit down to it. Yeah, I can't answer your question. I can't answer your question because how to get to a good casting and a good casting director with a good piece of material, and that you can't. It's impossible. You're not going to do it. So you're either going to give up or you're going to do the impossible. Which one? You know, if you
the impossible.
Up, yeah, because we're not artists if we give up, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So exactly. So I'm sorry to be that, but it is encouraging, because if you know you just have one thing to do, just go do that. So it's not a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. We only have time for a couple more. I think we're way over time. So go back to Kaya, because you were so gracious in pointing that out. Thank you, Kaya.
Thank you. So I have kind of two questions. I'll try and really be quick. One goes out mainly to Michael, but also you, Paul. Michael, we spoke before, and you spoke on this call about telling these stories and finding these stories that are almost soul stories that are a lot deeper and a lot more thought out and meaningful. At the moment, would you say, for actors and for yourself, are you focusing on more how to tell these stories through the mediums that are available to us during lockdown and us producing our own work and get out there? Or are you focusing more on the craft of how to find those characters and how to write those stories ready for when we are able to be in this new normal?
Michael?
Well, I think that what I've been trying to do is get all of you to expand a little bit your territory. Okay? Because many actors are waiting for somebody, the phone to ring. I don't mean you don't go to a class or whatever, but the inspiration, I mean, the theme of this to begin with was, really about finding the creative impulse and keeping it alive. Because that's, in this period, a lot of times people are feeling very isolated and not able to work the ways they were before. But we do need new stories. And I said soul stories because I think that when you get in touch with your deepest secret feelings and attitudes, and you have enough craft and enough discipline to be able to work with that, you're going to find gratification.
Mm-hmm.
You may not find greatness, but you're going to find gratification and a connection. And especially if it's with life.
Yeah, and Kaya, we've all seen you find greatness right in front of us. So,
yeah. And you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We know how to define that.
All right, so we got a few more. Who hasn't asked? Yes, sorry.
Sorry, this is Pascal speaking.
Pascal, hi, ciao.
Hey, so it has been so wonderful to have you with us, guys. Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much, Michael, and thank
Let
you
me
so
say one
much
thing before we...
to Federica. Yes. Then you say you make the final speech. I wanted just to have the opportunity to personally thank you, Paul, Michael, Federica, and all the guys connecting from all over the world for this amazing time we spent together. I hope soon we can have a physical masterclass again, either in Ischia in the summer or in Capri in the winter with these two amazing persons such as Paul and Michael. So I give you the final word and then we go automatically.
Thank you for this opportunity, Pascal. It really was terrific of you, and it's wonderful that you're giving back at this time and helping the community by doing this, even though we're all locked down and you're locked down. But thank you for allowing us to do this. For everybody who has been on this Zoom, for the folks who have been watching on Instagram, or whatever. If you want to try and continue your work, I know that Michael is still doing classes. You can write to Federica or Manu, but you can just write to the same email address that was that you wrote to. In this case, Fede can hop back on and tell you what that is in a second. We'll keep that alive. I'm also thinking of doing some